I'm Sharon Cittone, and today I'll be talking about how we can truly fix our global food system. I'm an ecosystem builder and founder, and I guess you could call me a pragmatic dreamer. But despite my rose-colored glasses, it is impossible to deny that our food system has been put under tremendous pressure. In the past 2 years, people have lived through extreme heat waves, deadly monsoons, floods, wildfires, derechos, and the continuing force of a worldwide COVID-19 pandemic. We can't deny that these are all directly attributable to the climate crisis, and they all have had a profound consequence on our food system. The COVID-19 emergency has also emphasized the many issues that we need to address, from agriculture to processing to nutrition. And just imagine, nearly 1 billion people suffer from malnutrition, and yet we waste nearly $1 trillion every year, or a third of our global food production. So while consumer behavior in the North reflects trends towards healthier and plant-based options, food deserts are growing in wealthy countries too, and with a disproportionate impact on minority and low-income populations. Our global food system has undergone a profound stress test, and in large part, it has failed. These may seem like daunting and even insurmountable challenges, but there is much more that we can do to strengthen and indeed transform this system into something more resilient and more equitable. However, half measures will not work. If the world's food supply is made insecure by climate change, food waste, and inequality, then no part of it will function until the entire system is protected. But what does it mean in practice to adopt a collaborative ecosystem approach to fix our global food system? Collaboration is one of those words that tends to get overused, and it means everything until it means nothing. It is more than getting together at meetings and conferences or webinars and discuss challenges and then retreat into our natural corners, giving out 1,000 business cards and then maybe using one. Instead, we need to commit to action and take ourselves out of our comfort zones to find solutions that go beyond our front doors. It is the task of those that are lucky enough to have resources to search for and empower voices that have historically been silenced. Young people, minorities, women, and so many others have been excluded from having a seat at the table, and to allow or give a little room is not enough anymore. Because until we make a concerted effort to level the playing field, we are all at a disadvantage. And the great benefit of doing this is that we then all share the responsibility for change. And we can do that part to support this shift. If you have ever read the news and wondered how you, as one organization or company or individual, can enact meaningful change, you are not alone. We have all wondered if we aren't just tilting at windmills when we try to live, work, or act more responsibly. No single entity among us can undo the damage that our planet has suffered, just as no single entity bears the responsibility for getting us there in the first place. We have all made choices, whether consciously or not, and the totality of these choices have created our contemporary world. At times, the challenge makes it tempting to just want to retreat in our own corners, go off the grid, and salvage what little we can of the world around us. But when we do that, we move further away from compassion, empathy, and creativity that brings out the very best in us. And if we are truly committed to building a better global food system, we need everyone to step up. A collaborative ecosystem builds on a horizontal connection between stakeholders around the world and whose skill sets and expertise complement rather than compete with each other. We have all the same goal of creating a better world, especially for future generations. But until we adopt a systemic approach that embraces the planet as a whole, we're weakening all the links that connect us. Similarly, we must confront our challenges with strategies that link local to global and back to local again. If a valid solution in South America wants to scale in Europe, What better way is there to have a web of players that can help that to happen? We need to start thinking bigger, bolder about what it means to foster cooperation and synergy. This approach is not only helpful for individual tasks and projects, it also helps us to understand how to close the gaps. Detroit Dirt, the Michigan organization, comes to mind. To better the community, they use local stakeholders to turn their waste into something positive in a closed loop approach. So we also need to look at the whole picture. If not, we risk, unfortunately, committing the same errors of the past, right? If we just put a lot of money behind trends without thinking at the whole supply chain aspects of it, we'll be in trouble. The plant-based sector is a perfect example of this. We can't just invest in products. We need to make the whole system resilient, starting with the way we grow our crops. Because we can't push for regenerative agriculture if then we just monoculture a few crops, or our soil will never heal. Essentially, it comes down to this. If for every project I build, instead of going it alone, I engage the ecosystem, it's not just the end product that becomes more valuable. Every one of us is involved, will have learned and shared in something. Our collaboration accelerates the deployment of real solutions. We need to think of regenerative business models where stakeholders throughout the food chain can go beyond the silo mentality that has held us back for too long. And instead, we need to create a holistic, inclusive platform to share the knowledge, resources, and best practices that we need to imagine a better global system overall. By bringing as many people together from all corners of the world, we create a true marketplace of ideas where we can test and trial the best solutions based on potential contributions to our growing needs and as a growing planet. Making everyone part of the effort allows us to combine our respective talents and expertises into a connective tissue that can and will form the basis of a new era. Yes, it may sound like a tall order. And yes, if we try to go at it alone, it may be very impossible. But pragmatic dreamers don't use the word impossible. And there is strength in numbers. If history has taught us anything, is that we can unite, cooperate, collaborate. We can meet the challenges of a changing world. And the current crisis does not have to be our final chapter. Instead, let's see this as an opportunity to write a new chapter in our collective history, one where each of us has a part to play and no one is left in the margins.